what I've got over here.
All right, welcome in everybody. Well, this is part 3 of how to use different clear coats. So today we're going to be doing 2-part epoxy clear coats. Now these do require a turner or a rotisserie or whatever you want to call it, but somewhere or another they need to rotate. Now I would normally use my wife's, or what I used to use, it was a type of 2-part epoxy that they use on tumblers. Well, instead of doing that, I'm going to show you how versatile 2-part epoxy can be. And so I'm going to use the Flex Coat High Build formula. It's a 2-part epoxy for rod building. So most all 2-part epoxy, they're not the same thing, but they act kind of the same. Now there is differences from brand to brand and stuff like that, and there's little things that you'll have to learn about the brand that you use. The one thing about 2-part epoxy you do have to look out for is on certain lures, like on these here, you have a ridge right here where it rolls over. Well, that ridge is kind of a hard line. And like in these gill plates right here, there's where that indentation is or that molding is, there's a hard edge right there. Epoxy does not like hard edges. That is where epoxy has trouble. Any kind of epoxy, it doesn't matter, will try to not necessarily separate, but it will what I call run away from the hard edges. So that will be your trouble spot. You will have to either do a really thin coat, let that cure, scuff it up, and do another thin coat, and hopefully that flows out and makes everything nice and even. But that's kind of one of the reasons I moved away personally from 2-part epoxy. Well, what we're going to do it on today is I have a little twitch bait here. It's fairly simple, no real hard edges. The shoulders have a nice smooth roundness to them. Now there's still a possibility at any of these points that I might have issues, but that's to be seen. Now you also need to know your working time. Like with this one here, I don't remember exactly, to be honest with you, but make sure you know, like if you get a 30-minute 2-part epoxy, kind of like the BSI, you don't necessarily have 30 minutes to mix it and everything else. That is the mix. As soon as you start mixing it, your clock starts ticking. Whether it's BSI or 2-part epoxy, anything that's a 2-part, as soon as you start mixing it, your clock starts ticking. Keep that in mind. And you need to know your dry time. Some 2-part epoxies dry in 6 to 8 hours. Some of them take 24 or more hours to dry and cure. So you need to know that as well, so that when you put them on your rotisserie, you know how long you have until you can even touch them. Now, on most epoxies, and I say most, after about 4 to 5 hours, you can stop your rotisserie turner. I recommend to leave your rotisserie turner going for 6 to 8 hours, just to make sure, until you know your epoxy inside and out. So I'm going to show you why I have a piece of tinfoil here. Hopefully that's not shining too bad in the camera and I got to do this a second time, but we'll find out. So what you're going to need obviously your two parts epoxy. And like I said, I'm using some Flex Coat today, and they do have little syringes to help me get an even amount. And 99% of two-part epoxies are 2 even parts by volume, not by weight. You can do the math and you can get 2 mixing cups and pour even volume into that cup and see how much one weighs to the other and write that down and do all that math. But don't assume that 1 ounce in weight of this is 1 ounce in weight of this, because you'll be wrong 99% of the time. Very few two-part epoxies are done by weight. Most all of them are done by volume. There is a difference, and you need to know how yours is done, because if you are doing it by weight and it says by volume, you'll start noticing that you're using more of one than you are of the other, and that is a telltale sign that you're mixing it wrong. If you don't have a somewhat of an even amount being taken out of your bottles, then most of the time you're mixing it wrong. You're using too much of one than you are the other. So let's go ahead with this. So we're going to use, okay, this one's part A. I'm going to turn this up. I'm going to let the little air bubble come out of it. And I'm going to get, I don't know if these are cc's or what. Oh, there it is, milliliters. So I'm going to pull as slow as I can. Try not to put any air bubbles into this. 2 milliliters. There are some air bubbles. So I'm going to set that to the side for a second. Try and let the air bubbles rise to the top. I'm going to pull 2 milliliters on this one as well. I'm going to let all the little air bubbles come up as much as I can. And this one is definitely by volume, so I'm going to pull 2 milliliters on this one. And the part B on this one's a lot thinner than the part A. Yeah, they didn't pop. But that's one nice thing about by volume instead of by weight. You have a small bit of forgiveness. So if you get a couple of air bubbles inside your syringe, little ones, then you're okay. So we'll take that. We'll squirt it out onto the tinfoil. Now this is probably more than I need for one lure, but I want y'all to see how this is done and be able to actually see it. All right, now we're going to mix it together. And I do not recommend a silicone mixing stick with 2-part epoxies. I don't recommend anything silicone. Use a hard plastic and or glass or metal. Don't use wood. Don't use silicone. Wood could incorporate little flakes of wood into your clear coat, which obviously is not cool. And silicone, even though all the companies out there that do molds and stuff like that use silicone, if it's not the right kind of silicone, it can actually do what's called silicone contamination. And it can actually contaminate your epoxy. And what that does is it makes it not set right. It will. Let me get something to wipe this off with. Hold on. It will. It causes fish eyes, all kinds of stuff like that. All right, now what we're doing now, I said with this 2-part, you have a little bit of time. Not much, but a little. All right, so the thing with the tinfoil is 2-part epoxy cures by thermodynamics. So what that means is it gets hot in order to cure. So this tinfoil or aluminum foil helps absorb some of the heat, and it also allows it to spread while you're working with it to keep it from setting up as fast. And it allows you, see how we got some micro bubbles in here? I don't know if y'all can see that. It allows you to be able to use your heat tool. See how they just disappeared? I barely brushed over it. All the little micro bubbles went away. Now, I normally don't worry about that, but I wanted to show y'all in case you are worried about that. Now, brushing it on, you're probably going to incorporate some bubbles. All right, so maybe get my hemostats. And the way my turner's set up is I got a solid hook on one side and a retractable hook on the other. So I hook into one of the belly hook hangers. So we'll just get a little bit on there. And just like with the BSI, you want to get a good brush. Do not use the acid wash brushes. Try it, and just like with BSI, try to concentrate on your trouble areas. And that's going to be anywhere around your gill details and your eyes and your hangers. That is going to be your trouble areas. So I always go around to all my hangers, all my trouble areas, and I put a little bit in there right off the start. That way, when I brush on the main coat, I know that them areas have epoxy in them. All right. Now we'll go all the way down. And just like with BSI, and it's not as critical, but don't overbrush it. Don't overload your brush either. Don't think you got to get a whole bunch on your brush, because you don't. You see me just dabbing it in there. Because you don't want to go heavy coats. I would rather see someone do 2 really thin coats with their epoxy. It might take a little bit more time for you. But in the end, it will look so much better than trying to put one big coat on there. Because if you have a big coat and something goes wrong, guess what? You got to put another amount on there. And that could create major issues. You get too much epoxy on your lure, you can actually overweight your lure. And it will act different than what it's supposed to. It will actually, if it's supposed to float, it could actually sink. All right. Now we got that on there. We're going to run the light over it, and we're going to watch the glare of the light all the way across this thing, seeing if we have a missed spot. The glare from the light will let you know if you missed anything. Because what it will do is, instead of being a glare going over the epoxy, the glare will just disappear, and it'll just disappear, and then it'll come back. All right, so that's 100% coated. So now we're going to put it on the rotisserie. Ooh, I need to put that on differently, because this thing has a hook for the belly hook as well. So I need to put it on like this. That way it spins right. And then we get that thing turning. And it doesn't have to turn very fast. And as that goes around, since this is a two-part leveling epoxy, this is not adhesive epoxy. And as it goes around, that will slowly flow, and it will level itself out as it goes around. Like I said, it does not have to go very fast, because it does take time for this to set up. Now what you can do as it goes around, you can hit it with some gentle heat. Don't put a whole lot of heat on it. Just to help everything kind of stay warm and flow. And like I said, as you can see here, I mean, I've got plenty left over, and that was 2 milliliters. I could definitely do a lot more than that. But I don't think I have any, because like on these lipless vives, I don't like using it, because these have a little bit of a dip on the head, and that two-part epoxy tends to fill that, and it doesn't vibrate as well anymore. But that's how it's done. So you want so let's recap. So you want a brush that has good bristles. Like I said, these brushes you can get on Amazon. They look just like this. Do not use the acid brushes. They're the ones with the stainless steel rod or hollow handle with the brown wild bristles that just go everywhere. They're not crimped very good, and the bristles will come out in your clear coat, and it will just give you major headaches. You want some aluminum foil. That way, because you can see this stuff is still very usable. And letting it spread out on here, and if you find that you're needing to, you can actually spread it once you have it mixed, and you can spread it out. And by spreading it out and getting a good thin layer, it does not dry faster, it dries slower, it sets up slower. Because remember, two-part epoxy, BSI included, it gets warm, it gets hot, it has a chemical reaction that does that, and that's what makes it set up. So if you can thin that out and keep it cooler, then you get a longer working time. Now, it's not going to be like drastically longer, but you will get a longer working time. You saw when I, had micro bubbles from, I wasn't real careful with stirring it, because once you thin the layer down and you just come over it with like a hair dryer or something, them bubbles just instantly go away. Make sure to know how your epoxy needs to be mixed. Is it volume or weight? And if it is by weight, do they give you the weight? If it's by weight, they should tell you part A weighs this much, part B weighs this much. But also don't assume that all two-part epoxies are 1-to-1 by volume or 1-to-1 by weight. There are some epoxies out there that are a 2-to-1 and a 3-to-1. and so forth and so forth. So make sure you know your mixing ratio. How is it weighed, or what kind, or how is it volumed out? Know your working time. Know your curing time. All of this is stuff you need to know. And if you can't find that information, call the company that makes it. And they, I'll be honest, they legally have to have that information. Even if you have to ask for a TDS sheet, it's a technical data sheet. These are stuff that they legally have to have, so they should have this information. So if you can't find it on their website, contact them. They have to provide that for you. But this is, real sweet, simple. This is actually pretty quick to get onto the turner. The long part of this is waiting for the dry time. And like I said, this works really good on like spooks, lures that have good smooth contours. But if they have hard edges, that's when you're going to run into problems with 2-part epoxy. But that's the video, guys. If y'all like these videos, like I always ask, please like it, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and give me some more ideas in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. And let's help grow this channel. I've got like 117 followers now, so that's awesome. For me, that's a big deal. I love and appreciate all of my subscribers, and I need y'all to help grow this channel. So yeah, just let me know what you think, and I'll catch y'all on the next video. We've done Tamco, or we have not done Tamco yet, which is automotive clear. So that might be the next one. I think other than that would be UV epoxy, and I can probably do a video on that, but I myself still haven't got that 100% down pat, because there's a lot of issues that come with UV. We might just do a discussion video on that one, because I don't want to do a clear coat that I'm not confident in doing. I'd rather discuss the ins and outs that I know about it. But yeah, so stay tuned for the next one, guys. Love y'all. Alright, bonus video, y'all, because I think my video was a little fuzzy. When I got my phone down, I realized I had some smudges on the camera. So I have another one of these lures. This is still very workable. This is only a couple minutes later. You see how it's still very runny. So I have another one of these. So we're going to do it as well. I want y'all to see how I apply it. I want y'all to see it in as best detail as I can provide. And this way y'all can see how this stuff works on multiple lures, and how having it on this aluminum helps out. Now again, we're just going around to the trouble areas, making sure we get a good coating on all that. I am trying to stay in camera. I apologize if I get out of camera. And by the way, these two lures are up for grabs. So if anyone is interested, you can definitely message me. I do sell the lures. So if you actually want one of these, especially one from the video, if that means anything to you, message me. And I don't think I have my email or anything up in my bio or anything like that. So if you just message in the comments, I will definitely put up my email on there, or some way get you some contact information. Okay, so now we are going to hit this on just a little bit of heat to allow it to all flow. I mean, it will self-level itself. It's just, that's a practice I've been doing with all two-part epoxies. And you saw I didn't keep the heat on it for very long. And all I'm doing right now is using the glare everywhere on this lure to make sure I don't have a missed spot, because you'll be surprised how easy it is to miss one little area. And that spot just does not want to fill in until you run the brush over it. Alright, so that's good. So let's get this all worked around here. Now you don't have to have a fancy turner like this one by any means. But that's your bonus video. I want to make sure you had a good clear video of that. I love y'all.